virtual learning experience. Today, we are going to dive right into the final lesson in our welcome module, Lesson 5. Just like our earlier lessons, this lesson is broken into two parts. The first part is where we're going to continue reading the work of art that we've been looking at. The second part is where we're going to think more about writing. So take a minute to read our expectations. Consider which one has been the most challenging for you. What can you do to help yourself meet that expectation during our Module 4 time together? Pause the video to think about that. Maybe you're going to take more time to come prepared for learning. Maybe you're going to share your ideas more. Find a partner to work with. Keep that to yourself and really think about how you'll push your practice. As you know, this welcome module has 5 lessons, and the essential question is the same one we've been studying throughout all of the lessons in the welcome. How will we learn together virtually? Today, we're going to finish exploring that question. Take a minute to remind yourself of the goals that we've been working towards. We know more about the content stages, about a text, and we can answer that question, how we work together virtually. Look at what we've already done in this short time. We've worked through 4 of the 5 content stages. We've also worked through 3 of the 4 craft stages. In part 1 of this lesson, we will work on the last content stage. We're going to reflect on what we now know as a result of all the work we've done throughout the module. In part 2, we'll be in the final craft stage, and we'll have a chance to excel at the skill of combining sentences. Do you have your journal and a pen or pencil ready? Maybe you're working in your electronic space. Is it all set up? If not, pause now so that you can get ready. Remember that stopping to think and write about what you're learning helps you to remember what you've learned. We've done this in different ways throughout our time together. We've made T-charts, we've stopped and jotted, answered text-dependent questions, and completed a quick write. Today, we're going to stop and think about what we've already learned. And at Wit and Wisdom, we call the use of this a knowledge journal. We're going to record in our knowledge journal our thoughts. We have 5 content stages, and each content stage has a content framing question. That question guides our learning. Today, in our final content stage in this welcome module, we're going to explore a question together. Read it with me. How does the photograph of President Lincoln build my knowledge? As we've been experiencing over the last few lessons, we've been learning new things together, and it's been fun. I've enjoyed learning more about this photograph and what it takes to learn virtually with you. It's important to remember that we learn, so when we need new knowledge, we can find it in our brains. For example, someday you may come across another photo of the Civil War. How could the study of the photograph with Abraham Lincoln that we've been looking at help you better understand the photograph you come upon? Or maybe someday you'll visit a website or go to a museum and you'll see a photograph and you'll see that the artist used line to attract your eye in a certain way. How could our work together throughout this welcome module help you better understand that photograph? As we discussed in earlier lessons, pausing to remember what we learned can help us hold on to knowledge so that that knowledge is there when we really need it. Today, we will take the time to record some of our new knowledge. We're going to do this in a knowledge journal entry. Those of you who are Wit and Wisdom students already are familiar with the idea of a knowledge journal. If you are not familiar with it, you're going to get a try at it today. These are going to be virtual journals where we keep track of the new knowledge that we came upon. So now, either with your journal and a pen or paper or in your electronic space. Make a header on your paper that says, Welcome Module Knowledge Journal Entry. Remember, you're just writing the heading now. You do not need to write anything else. We're going to get to that in a minute. You might want to pause the video so that you can make your heading for your knowledge journal entry. As you think about the knowledge that you've built over the course of this time in this welcome module, it's helpful to think about it in categories. So you may have built knowledge about the world, knowledge about ideas, or knowledge about skills. When we think about knowledge about the world, that's knowledge that has to do with history, geography, art, people from the past, people now. When you think about knowledge about ideas, that's what we did in our distill lesson. That's where we got to the essential meaning, the big idea of something that's an underlining important concept. Or maybe you have a knowledge of skills. That's when you reflect on the skills you learned throughout this module. It could be different ways to read or to write. Take a minute to think about what you've learned in this welcome module. You may want to look through your notes from your journal to see what you've learned over your time with us in the welcome module. What knowledge did you learn about the world? What ideas did you ponder or think about? And what skills did you develop and work on? Pause the video now to record some of what you learned on your knowledge journal entry page. This is the time where you would now share your responses in your knowledge journal with a family member or a friend or someone you're working with virtually to see what they learned as well. I know myself that I've built my own knowledge during this module. I did not realize the power of photography during the Civil War. And if now I was to see another photograph taken at that time, I would have a deeper understanding of how that photography really impacted public perception. I also didn't know as much about how important Abraham Lincoln was, and studying this primary source helped me understand his role during the Civil War. Another way for us to build knowledge is to return to our wonders from our first lesson. Do you remember doing those? All right, good. So here's what I want you to do. You are going to find your wonders from the very first lesson when we made that T-chart. I want you to pause the video and go find your wonders now. All right, you should have your wonders. Read over your wonders. Did we answer any of your questions about the photograph during our discussion? If so, which ones? Pause and record what questions we answered from your original wonders and put it in your knowledge journal entry. Okay, now look at the wonders that we haven't answered. Pause and record what questions you still have in your knowledge journal entry. Pause now and do that. Do not be disappointed if you still have unanswered questions. That's the great thing about knowledge. There is always, always, always more to learn. In our Module 4, one of the skills that we're going to be doing is researching. You've probably had some practice with researching already, and I'm going to challenge you. If you want to and you still have questions, go and research those in the next few weeks. See if you can find the answers. You also may want to study other famous works of art. Lots of museums have online websites where you can find these paintings and photographs to learn more on your own. And of course, we're going to build plenty of knowledge together as we dive into Module 4. So, What is one way that you are going to commit to building your knowledge after this welcome module ends? Are you going to visit a museum website? Are you going to take a virtual tour or field trip? Are you going to notice and wonder about a book or maybe a piece of art? Pause now to make a note, to make a commitment to yourself about one way that you will build knowledge after this lesson. Guess what, everyone? Congratulations! You've reached the 5th content stage. We are now at know. And I have enjoyed building my knowledge with you. In the next part of this lesson, part 2, we're going to think more about writing and combining sentences. I'll see you soon.